So here we go. Iowa State and TCU. The Horned Frogs wearing their away purple uniforms with white numbers trimmed in gray. Iowa State in their home whites. It'll be Donarski and Morris to tip it up in the center. That is 6'7" going against 6 foot, and Donarski wins the opening tip.
And I don't even know if Lexi Donarski is all of 6 feet. She can jump though, as seen on that tip there.
This is one of 3 games featuring a top 25 team today. Donarski from 19, got it. Just saw the officials, Gina Cross, Michael McConnell, Jesse Dickerson were just settling in. Here's your TCU starting 5 with Hurd, Adika, Barry, Jackson, and Morris. And TCU right back with an answer as they're able to find Patricia Morris for the bucket. Iowa State with their starting 5, what they've gone with for a long time. Ryan, Jones, Donarski, Ashley Jones, and Morgan Kane. And Adike going to pick up the foul here. Coco will pick up her first, the senior from Denmark.
As we mentioned in the open, 2 pretty different circumstances for these 2 teams coming into this game. Iowa State trying to hang in there and rest legs, fourth in the midst of a 4-game and 10-day schedule. TCU, meanwhile, this is their 2nd game since December 12th because of some COVID issues on their end, some COVID issues by Big 12 opponents. So pretty different sets of legs, I would say, out there today.
Donarski just picked up that foul, an illegal screen. Tied at 2, again just getting started. The 3 ball by Adike. Can't get it to go down, and an offensive rebound here for TCU. Look out for Lauren Hurd. The graduate from Denton, Texas has been on fire, averaging just over 17 a game. Ryan with the steal. Cyclones in transition. Here's Jones on the block and will be bodied.
See pretty quickly that double team comes when Ashley Jones catches. That's a consistent theme that she has started to see all season long. Her teammates, especially post players, have figured out how to play off her and free themselves when those double teams come.
Patricia Morris picked up the foul. That's her first. And right away, Jesse Dickerson, the official, trying to make sure that they got things straight at the scorers table. We're tied at 2. About 1:15 into the contest. TCU at 4 and 5, as you'd mentioned, just trying to find games. Had their first 3 Big 12 conference games rescheduled. And the rebound to Morris, who appears to be a handful today, coming into the contest averaging 3 rebounds, has a bucket and a board already.
Well, she's just so different than Iowa State's post players. This is a big TCU squad. A lot of players well over 6 feet.
This rebound tapped out of bounds, last touch by Barry of TCU. Cyclones trying to do something they haven't done since 2014, which is go to 3-0 in Big 12 conference play to open up, as you see on the replay there. Barry, the last one to deflect it. Now Kane at the top of the key. Over to Ryan. Finds Morgan Kane on the give and go, and Morris is going to pick up her second.
TCU will pretty quickly bring in a couple of substitutes here.
Yep, hitting their bench already. Aja Holmes will check into the game for the first time, the sophomore from Cibolo, Texas. And also coming in is going to be Yummy Morris, the sophomore from Little Rock, Arkansas. See, with a heavily bandaged right hand, not only has COVID taken a toll on TCU this year, injuries have as well.
Well, talking to head coach Reagan Peebley yesterday, she said the last 3 days, we finally had our full squad back at full strength to practice. So, when we say these teams are coming from different perspectives, we are not exaggerating at all. TCU really just trying to find their flow, get their rhythm back. She talked about how hard it is to prepare for such a good team like Iowa State with a little bit of time to get ready.
Hurd's shot, tough shot, she gets it to go down, and we're tied at 4. And this is a TCU team that knocked off Texas A&M a couple of weeks ago in a very spirited contest, the in-state rivalry. As you see, a travel going to be called here on Aubrey Jones.
And we can expect TCU, we've already seen it a little bit, to do some different things on the defensive end, changing things up. On a made basket, they may do one thing. On a miss, they may do something else. We've already seen those quick double teams on Ashley Jones when she catches in the post.
Beatrice Jordow and Maggie Espen-Miller-McGraw check into the lineup for Aubrey Jones and also for Morgan Kane. This three off the mark, and the rebound to Ryan. Emily Ryan, as we said from the outset, a terrific week, and Jordow going to be called for the offensive foul as she was trying to gain position on the block. What will TCU and what are they doing here to throw Iowa State off a little bit? Not many crisp offensive possessions so far.
Well, I think part of it for Iowa State and trying to prepare for TCU is it's hard when you can't see a lot of game film. Chatting with Jody Steyer a little bit, she said that's been a huge challenge, and especially for Iowa State. I mean, they're a team that is so scout and report focused. They spend a lot of time, a lot of attention to detail, and she's like, we don't totally know what we'll get. We've seen some things, but until we really get out there and get into the flow, it's a little bit of a mystery. So I think that's maybe part of what we're seeing here, BJ, is Iowa State figuring out what it is that TCU is throwing at them.
The Horned Frogs outshot Iowa State 7-2. But we're tied at 4. TCU just 2 of 7. Iowa State has made one of their shots. Here's Jones. She'll connect.
Good decision by Ashley Jones there. She had a little bit of daylight to pull up and shoot that, maybe 8-footer or so rather than taking it all the way to the rim.
Morris puts it on the deck. And Jordow with the rebound. Ryan in traffic, 20 on the shot clock. Jones to work from the top. And an offensive board for Iowa State. Donarski to Jones to Jordow.
Beatrice Jordow, Morgan Kane, those two post players for Iowa State have really figured out how to play alongside Ashley Jones. I've been so impressed with the two of them and the ways that they've matured in just the last month, 6 weeks or so.
Here's Hurd spotting up. And another offensive rebound here for the Horned Frogs. Berry picked up by Ryan. Can't get the step back to fall down, but another offensive board. Here's another three. And now Donarski will clear it for Iowa State. Ryan for three. Got it!
So that last offensive possession, BJ, we saw TCU with another offensive rebound. I think that'll be a key for them today if they're going to hang in this game. They haven't had glamorous offensive numbers. They haven't shot the ball all that well, so I think some second chance opportunities would be really critical for them.
Jackson going to be called for the foul and will bring us to a timeout on the floor. 4:51 to play. Cyclones on a 7-0 run.
Probably be important for TCU today, just because they're still trying to get into the rhythm on the offensive end. They'll need some second chance opportunities. Cyclones looking like a well-oiled machine on the offensive end other than a couple of turnovers.
Naimar Du will check into the game for the first time for Iowa State. Donarski will cash in on the clear out. Also, Morgan Kane back into the lineup for TCU. Checking in for the first time is Tabby Diggs, the junior from Richardson, Texas. Diggs will hold it now on the wing. The interior pass from Kayla Makwa as she tried to hit a cutter to the hoop, deflected out of bounds, last touch by Iowa State.
Good cut to the basket there.
Oh, I beg your pardon, a foul was called as Diggs will go to the line. And that foul on Ashley Jones, her first. So Diggs, her first free throw attempt is off the mark. Came into the contest shooting right at 65% from the line. And goes 1 out of 2 here to get a point on the board here for TCU. They had a scoring drought of better than 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Well, and making a shot allows them to set their defense. Iowa State has done a nice job offensively of taking advantage to some numbers, taking advantage when they've been able to run a little bit.
Kane at the high post will give to Donarski with 10 on the shot clock. Man-to-man defense and a near turnover. It's going to be kept in. The shot clock winding down, and Iowa State won't be able to get a shot off. Terrific defense by TCU.
That was a heck of a save by Ashley Jones right in front of us here. Get down on her knees and keep it in the front court for the Cyclones, but of course weren't able to get a shot off quick enough.
And an illegal screen going to be called against Makwa. And the Cyclones will go back to their bench. Coming back in, Espen Miller, McGraw, and Jordao. Out will be Dew and Kane.
Maggie Espen Miller McGraw still on pretty limited minutes for Iowa State after last season, this season, having leg injury issues.
Jordao can't get the putback. TCU trying to run their offense here with Diggs out on the wing. Jackson will dump it in. Makwa left it short, and the rebound to Jones, and I think a frustration foul here called on Kayla. Well, you look at TCU's height, 6'4", 6'7", 6'3". Got some terrific height, and now coming off the bench will be Michelle Berry to re-enter the game again. Makwa will pick up her second.
Horned Frogs just continue to struggle with offensive rebound. 2 of 12. Gotten to the free throw line a little bit, helped the cause, but just still trying to get their rhythm back, as we said.
Think about it too. Iowa State holding TCU to 5 points. They're coming off of a game. They won by 10 on the road against Oklahoma, who was ranked 25th the other night. They held the Sooners under their scoring average, and Oklahoma, one of the better scoring teams in the nation. So the Cyclones can play defense and offense here. Lead it by 10, their largest of the game. Hurd shot, a circus shot goes awry, and the Cyclones into the front court with Donarski.
Oh, you make a good point there, BJ. Iowa State playing with a lot of confidence, have a great record, playing extremely well lately.
And the loose ball tracked down by Hurd. TCU has to find the right number here to get going. No field goals in the last 5:05.
Good movement away from the basketball. They just have not been able to find the hoop.
Here's Diggs. Jordao with the tough defense. Iowa State getting the defensive rebound now. Wasn't the case earlier on in the game. And now Ryan being harassed, and a foul will be called.
Jordao loses the handle of it there, and Iowa State ends up in a pretty fortunate position to draw the foul. A little bit of a ball handling error there by Iowa State to start the scuffle.
Morgan Kane back into the game for Jordao. And also coming into the game for the first time will be Tara Manu Malauna, who will check into the game for the first time for TCU. And the free throw by Ryan is buried.
And Tara, who you just mentioned, came into the basketball game, one of 7 Division I transfers on this TCU squad. Reagan Peebley taking advantage of that transfer portal. She says it's here to stay. You gotta figure out a way to work with it, and it's worked out well for them.
Now Hurd, the long jumper, off the mark. In fact, Coach Peebley said that, you know, they're getting some players the second time around. They may have said no initially coming to TCU, and now they're getting players to come back the second time around.
There were already those good relationships built when they recruited him the first time out of high school, and when things didn't work out at their first destination, TCU is a place that fit well.
So here we go, Ryan to put it in along the baseline. Jones, good swim move back to her inside.
Great use of that pivot foot.
Ashley Jones now with 6 in the contest. Diggs with the 15-footer. Well, that's a big basket for TCU for a lot of reasons.
Well, this TCU squad, I think a lot of it is they need confidence on the offensive end. When you haven't played games, you haven't played against another opponent in so long.
Ryan shot off the mark. It'll be tracked down by TCU. Now the 3 from Barry.
Well, TCU certainly has some weapons. That's a good possession. Lauren Hurd has the basketball in her hands, certainly capable of scoring herself, but she distributes it.
Kane trying to clean it up and will go to the line. Boy, just a shade under 44 seconds to play here in the opening quarter. And Morgan Kane going back to the line again. That foul called on Diggs, her second. And there's a couple of Horned Frogs in foul trouble here in the first quarter.
Eight fouls for TCU Cyclones with 3 as a squad. Morgan, go ahead.
Aja Holmes into the contest for TCU as we set their lineup. It's a 2-shot opportunity here for Morgan Kane. Also coming into the game for the first time is Paige Bradley. There's a look at Iowa State head coach Bill Fenley, and you know, he just sees this team. I mean, not only are they confident, but they play so well together, even with people coming back from injuries. I mean, Coach was remarking the other day about, you know, things are really starting to click.
Well, this is a team that I think the players on the team know their roles really well, and they've accepted those roles. And Coach Peebley gave the team a good compliment yesterday. Said this is a very Bill team. They seem to have a lot of cohesion, very connected. Ashley Jones is a great centerpiece, but she's better because she has really great pieces around her, and those folks understand their roles too. So I think the Iowa State coaching staff has really done a great job of taking a lot of really good pieces and matching them together very nicely.
Shot clock is off. Donarski to work at the top of the key. She'll back up and fire. And that will be the end of the first quarter. So what a quarter for Iowa State defensively. They hold TCU to just 22% from the field and 14% from three-point range, and they lead it by 10.
For the record book, I mean, she is a fifth-year graduate player, so, you know, take that into account. Don't want to take anything away from her, but she is in the top 5, top 10 for nearly every statistical measure at TCU in their program history.
Out of the timeout, they design a play for her, but it's off the mark. She's 1 of 6 from the field here against Iowa State so far. Jordow at the top of the key to Jones. Ashley will fire. And out ahead, here comes TCU. From the perimeter, now the jumper, that's a 2. It won't go, and Espen Miller-McGraw with a rebound, and she's tied up by Hurd. The possession arrow gives it to Iowa State.
Well, and in addition to all of the statistical accolades there by Lauren Hurd, good effort, you can see, on that offensive rebound attempt. But Coach Peebley is so complimentary of her just as a young person and what she brings to the program and to the university. She said she's like a dream student athlete, so high praise.
Here's Jordow on the block. Will square. Still 20-10 with Molly Parrott on BJ Shaban here from Hilton Coliseum for this Big 12 matchup between Iowa State and TCU. Horned Frogs cold shooting in that opening quarter. Just 22%, now down to 20% for the game. And Iowa State able to get hot at one point. It was tied up at 4 before the big run by the Cyclones. And now Aubrey Jones will check back into the game. She's in for Espen trying to find a way to get it into the block, trying to exploit that today. Morris now with the turnaround.
Well, as you mentioned, TCU certainly more size in the post if they could take advantage.
Barry from the wing. And the rebound to Jordow, who will kick it out to Donarski. See the defensive rebounding numbers. The Cyclones have been picking that up, and Donarski able to bury the jump shot with a lot of traffic out there on the wing.
It's such a great decision. You get past, like you said, the traffic, but you pull up and hit a jumper before you get in the middle of additional traffic.
Lexi with 6. And now Barry for 3. Can't get it to fall. TCU has had their struggles from three-point range now, 1 of 8.
Haven't shot it well on the season as a team, 27%.
And Manu Malauna will come back into the contest for Barry. And this series has seen a lot of swings. I mean, it's all knotted up between Iowa State and TCU. Been a year in which TCU has been able to sweep. Iowa State has won a couple in a row now. Ryan to Jones. And Adika will outlet it ahead to Hurd.
Reagan Peebley now in her 8th year at TCU. These are two coaches that know each other pretty well. And when you're playing against an opponent twice a year, sometimes 3 times in the Big 12 tournament.
And Donarski's hurt. And they're going to call officials time as Lexi Donarski on that made basket by Hurd. She's in some pain.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's a knee or an ankle, but it's definitely some sort of, I think, lower leg injury. Is able to put a little bit of weight on it. That is good. Longtime trainer for the Iowa State women. Denise O'Mara down there tending to Lexi.
Check it out. They're looking at her lower, or her foot. Her right foot. We'll keep you posted if we're able to pick up anything. So coming in her stead is going to be Naimir Dew. And looking to drive is Jones on the block, and a foul going to be called against TCU. This goes against Manu Malauna.
She very quickly clutches that right foot, ankle, something down there they're taking a look at.
Here's Dew at the high post. Gonna hand it off to Ryan. Ryan with the right-hand shot will go to the line to shoot 2. As Aaliyah Jackson had some tight defense, too tight.
TCU 1, Aaliyah Jackson for second team foul.
Cyclones today, 7 of 8 from the foul line. Ryan has been there twice so far. And TCU back to their bench again as Holmes will come back into the contest for Jackson. And Jackson will pick up her second.
4 players for TCU with 2 fouls apiece. We'll see if Coach Peebley feels like she needs to send them back into the game here as the Cyclones extend the lead to 11.
And that was a question the other day. I mean, they've been forced to play a lot of different players, so trying to find that perfect rotation has been challenging for TCU this year. Now the 3. It's off the mark. And this is going to stay with TCU.
And kind of an interesting coincidence that right before Iowa State and TCU played Big 12 play last December, TCU was coming from a COVID break. She said this is tough luck because Iowa State is a tough team to prepare for, and to have a bit of a gap in your practice and preparation time. Iowa State, a team that is so scouting report detailed, that makes it tough for a struggling, offense that's trying to find its rhythm. Iowa State is a tough defensive opponent to draw in this situation.
And Adika will pick up her second foul as Jones, you see, able to draw that out. And it will bring us to a timeout here on that foul. So intentional against Adika. That puts her at 2 fouls on the night. As Iowa State now doubles up TCU at 24-12. Make it 25-12.
Ashley Jones, such a good free throw shooter. She will make you pay. I love looking at the fouls drawn statistic on a box score because Ashley Jones is always so far ahead of everyone else on the court.
Cheryl Miller Award winner and in strong running for that award again this year. Why wouldn't you vote for her?
Lexi Denarcy back into the game here, dribbling around, looks pretty confident on that right ankle or right foot.
Which is great to see her back out on the court. A kick was ruled against TCU. There's the footwork by Denarski. Great shot. She seems to be okay on it. Now here's Jones. Draws the double team, leaves Ryan wide open.
That is a part of Ashley Jones' game that has gotten so much better as her career has progressed. Not forcing the situation there, really using her pivot foot to find that open shooter. Didn't even have a clear passing angle, I wouldn't say, but she showed some patience. Finds that window, and Emily Ryan knocks it down.
Denarski picks up the foul, so she'll have to check out. That's her second. As Jemmy Morris was able to draw the contact there. Coming back in is Dew. TCU having some trouble, but they find the outlet in Morris. Here's Hurd. Inside, and they're able to lay it up and in. Great cut there by Tabby Diggs to get the bucket.
Good heads-up play there by Lauren Hurd. That's probably a jumper she could have taken, but finds Tiggs for an even better look.
Ryan will reset the offense here from the wing to Kane up high. Now to Jones. Jones lets traffic go by and will go to the line to shoot two here. You can never quite give up defensively on Ashley Jones. She's always finding a way to create a basket here.
Again, that pivot foot. Love it.
Jones able to connect on the free throw now with 9. See her season numbers. And shooting right at an 86% clip from the foul stripe. 16-point lead here for Iowa State, their largest lead. And you see the free throw numbers, the difference between the two. TCU has mounted a number of fouls here in the first half, 12, compared to Iowa State's 4. Jones trying to find Kane, and it's poked away. Manu Malauna with the shot.
TCU taking good care of the basketball today, BJ. Just 4 turnovers as a squad, but shooting percentage is where they really struggled.
New shot off the mark, and here comes TCU. Yeah, it's been an adventure today. 6 of 30 for TCU from the field so far. I think they're having some players take some shots that they don't normally take, and as Hurd draws glass on that shot. Now Jones, the step back. And you have that on that end for Iowa State.
Cyclones haven't shot it well from 3, but they've shot just enough of them to continue to slowly expand this margin.
Iowa State right now with 163 three-point field goals made this year, which ranks 2nd in the country. Here's Ryan on the drive, and a block is going to be called on TCU.
Well, the Cyclones are not going to take their foot off the gas here. TCU, as we said, a bunch of players have been on the bench in some foul trouble. little out of sync on the offensive end, but Iowa State knows TCU has enough weapons. Lauren Hurd in particular, I mean, she's had several games in her career where she scored over 30, so if she gets hot, they know that TCU can claw their way right back into this game.
Now Caroline German will check into the game for the first time, the senior from France. Also back in is Patricia Morris. And coming also back into the game, the freshman out of Dallas, Paige Bradley, will check back in. So there are a number of players. In fact, the whole roster has played so far for TCU. Fine, able to go 1 out of 2 there. It's a 20-point lead. Now Diggs. Looking to work. And foul going to be called here on Morgan Kane. Oh, Diggs was working hard to try to get that shot and was able to get Kane off balance.
Yeah, I think they're going to call it away from the basketball. Morgan Kane was defending Patricia Morris, maybe a displacement call there, battling for that low block position.
German out to Diggs. And the floater. She's able to connect on it. It's been few and far in between, and that snaps a 2+ minute scoring drought for TCU.
Diggs looking for her offense today on the year, averaging about 6.5 per game. Had a double-double against Tulane earlier this season, so certainly capable of double figures on a regular basis.
German shot knocked out of bounds by Espen Miller-McGraw. Take a look at this again. Maggie not giving up on the play and getting active in it. And a steal by Jones. Iowa State with 3 compared to 2. That department offense is going for Iowa State. They are 9 of 22 from the field and a little bit better right now as they make their 10th field goal of the game. This from Ashley Jones again. In double figures, well in hand with 15. Also has 4 rebounds on the afternoon, and an illegal screen called against Morris, who will pick up her 3rd. And TCU also going back to their bench again as Morris will come back in with those 2 fouls. Coach Peebley just trying to find the right combination. And an illegal screen going to be called against Jordow. And so that'll be the 3rd team foul against Iowa State here in the quarter. 2:34 to play here in the first half. Stay tuned at the half. We're going to be taking a look back here at this wonderful basketball arena in Hilton Coliseum and the history that's been made here. So stay tuned for that coming up at the half, plus highlights, stats, and we'll get you caught up on the other top 25 and other Big 12 games going on today. Morris with the kick out to Berry. Now Bradley looking to work with it. Shot clock at 10. Can't get it to fall. And then the foul. He's done that quite a bit here today.
A little bit of frustration, not being able to knock down the shot and trying to make something happen. Ashley Jones does such a good job of securing those rebounds. She's not about to let a pesky defender get a hand in there to knock it free.
That's 15 fouls today called against TCU in the first half.
12 of the Frogs suited for today's matchup have entered this contest. They have 16 on their roster. With COVID, we're seeing some larger rosters than maybe we would have seen in years past. They had some players come back for a 5th year as graduate students.
Now Bradley. Out to Diggs. Now from the baseline. Can't get that shot to fall, and a rebound by Diggs.
Great pass.
Able to get it to the interior to Morris, who gets the bucket. Defensively, Iowa State holding TCU to 8 of 36 from the field. Now Jones from the top. Can't get it to fall. German with the rebound. TCU goes back inside. Morris with the tough shot, but draws contact.
Maggie Vick getting some minutes for Iowa State in this game. Cyclones in the third game of 4 within a 10-day span, so I won't be surprised to see some more reserve players in the lineup for a few more minutes here or there to try to rest some legs.
Vick will check out. Kane back in. It's been an interesting Saturday afternoon here in Hilton. 20-point lead for Iowa State as TCU comes up empty from the foul line.
TCU 1 of 4 at the charity stripe so far. Cyclones 15 of 18. Getting to the line and making TCU pay.
Ryan to Kane. Working hard. Can't get the bucket as Morris will clean it up. Bradley. Pass did not touch Iowa State as the Cyclones will get it back on the turnover. About a 6-second difference between the shot and game clock. Kane to Ryan. Back into Jones. Draws the double team but took a step before she made her move. So the shot clock is off as the first half is winding down. It's been a half dominated by Iowa State, both offensively and defensively, with a 20-point lead here.
Cyclones have gone cold a little bit here these last couple of minutes. No field goals in the last 2.5.
Here's Diggs, tries to go underneath. The shot, Morris can't get it to fall, and that will be the end of the first half. What a half for Iowa State. They lead it by 20. And many coaches feel like the Big 12 Conference is wide open for whoever wants it. Right now, Iowa State, K-State still perfect, followed by Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and then Kansas, TCU looking for their first game, as is Kansas, to figure out which way they're going to go on this side of the pendulum. As Big 12 action starting to get going, all teams in play today.
Well, it's such a grueling Big 12 Conference season. When you're playing 18 games, one of the best leagues in the country, it's all about not getting too high or too low. You got to bounce back quickly or come back down to earth after a big win because you got a really tough opponent again in 2 or 3 days.
Iowa State with their starting 5 back out on the floor. The Jones sisters, Kane, Donarski, and Ryan. As Kane gets a bucket to start the second half. And for TCU, out on the floor, it's Jackson, Adika, Diggs, Hurd, and Barry. Hurd from the wing, and before the shot, a little movement down below by Adika, who will pick up her third.
And it looks like TCU will do some different things here defensively, pick up some full court pressure defense, just try to get Iowa State out of the rhythm offensively.
Now Ryan looks to attack in the paint. Kane with the rebound and put back.
TCU forces Emily Ryan into a tough shot. She can't knock down with her left hand, but then they give up the offensive rebound.
And Adika buries a 3 at the top to get things going for TCU. I mean, you might question, is this what you want to do, speed up Iowa State? They can play at a a lot of ways, and fast is one of them, as Kane will draw contact on Diggs.
I agree, BJ. We saw early in the game Cyclones scoring in transition. They are never bashful about shooting threes in transition when they have numbers and try to catch an opposing defense off guard, but they can also run their offense, run their sets once the defense is established. I think that's a huge strength of this Iowa State team this year.
And Morgan Kane able to hit the free throw here. She's got 8. Ashley Jones leading the way with 17. 10 scored by Emily Ryan. And TCU being led by Tabby Diggs off the bench. Here she is right now with the ball. Withdraws contact, can't get the shot to fall, and the rebound to Jones. Iowa State had numbers ahead. Now Ryan will bring it ahead. To the corner, Donarski for 3. Diggs will look to run it. Going coast to coast and gets the bucket and the foul.
Well, on a night when your leading scorer is facing all sorts of defensive attention, that's Lauren Hurd, averaging 17 a game. Well, Lexi Donarski, the lockdown defender for Iowa State on the perimeter. When that happens, you need another offensive threat to step up. And I think for TCU, they're still trying to figure out who's that second and third option. Lauren Hurd, the only player on this TCU roster, averaging double figures per game. So they're looking for someone else to step up and be that next person in.
Tabby Diggs misses a free throw, has 9 in the contest. Now a 3 by Donarski. Diggs trying to work it on the block. And Jones will clear it out for Iowa State. Lead the largest right now at 24. Jordan working for position. Horned Frogs will get it to the high post and Diggs. And what a tough shot. Tabby Diggs able to get it to go down. She's in double figures with 11. Now here's Jones wide open. This is going to stay with Iowa State. Morgan Kane back into the game for Jordan.
Good look at Diggs taking the basketball hard to the hoop, maybe with a little bit of contact.
Morris back into the contest for Barry. First time in the second half for her. Picks up Morgan Kane defensively, and a 5-second call is going to be called on Iowa State.
Iowa State coaching staff a little frustrated by the lack of execution there. 9th turnover for Iowa State on the day.
Here's Diggs looking to work it in. Draws contact and gets the hoop and the harm. Well, Tabby starting to take over this game for TCU, but where the score's at, needs a running mate to try to get a comeback going.
Well, she sure doesn't look like she's the 6th best scorer on the team, and that's what she has been so far this season. As we said, we in the first half, we knew she was capable, though. Had a double-double against Tulane earlier this year, so seems to be playing with an enhanced sense of confidence here.
Now Donarski for 3. Jones will save it in. There's Ashley. Iowa State going cold from three-point range here in the second half. Here's Diggs. Can't finish it. And Iowa State will get the dead ball rebound. Cyclones back to their bench. Espen Miller-McGraw back in. As she'll check in for Aubrey Jones. What a comeback she's had here for Iowa State. Missed a lot of action, almost a year and a half's worth of action due to injury.
Aubrey Jones, Maggie Espin-Miller-McGraw, both big-time threats from beyond the arc. Haven't seen it today, but they can really stretch the defense. I mean, right on cue, BJ. It's like I knew it was coming. I did not know it was coming.
23-point lead here for Iowa State. And an illegal screen up top, going to be called against Morris.
But as I was saying about Maggie Espin-Miller-McGraw, we're going to get a look at that three-pointer from her here on the season. Hasn't shot a lot of them, hasn't played a ton due to injury. She's been on a minutes restriction, but 7 of 13 coming into the game.
Kane will clean it up.
I mentioned Aubrey Jones. She has not attempted a shot today, but on the season, 48% from beyond the arc. She just garners so much defensive attention because she can stretch your defense and score points in a hurry from beyond the arc.
Diggs, again, had 7 in the first half. And now Tabby getting things really going, now with 15 in the game. Ryan tried to enter it. It's kicked away by Diggs, and it'll bring us to a timeout on the floor. 8 points scored by Tabby Diggs here in the second half, but Iowa State with a lot. 52-29 Cyclones. You know, what a league and what a race it's going to be. And you think about the future of the Big 12 Conference, BYU also in the AP Top 25, so no let up.
Kansas State, who's tied with Iowa State at the top of the conference standings at 2-0, they are receiving votes, so the future is bright for the conference for sure. Reagan Peebley talked about this a little bit. She played in the Big 12 back when Colorado was in the league. 2 of her assistants played in the Big 12 at Oklahoma, so 2 coaching staffs that are long tenured and have a lot of enthusiasm about the conference, a lot of respect for opponents at the other bench. Kansas City should be fun.
Oh, it should, with March looming. In fact, foul here going to be called on Iowa State, and against Morgan Kane. And that'll be her second. Team foul number 3 against Iowa State in the third quarter. Adika's drive and finish here for TCU.
Adika and Naimir Duke playing together at Butler previously, former teammates.
You know, part of the transfer portal. And what goes on in college athletics is Emily Ryan is able to drive and finish.
Someone's your teammate one year, they might be your opponent the next, whether you stay at your school or go somewhere else.
Diggs will enter it to Morris. It's off of her foot. And I believe a foul will be called here on Morgan Kane.
Kane and Morris jostling for that lane low block position. And fortunate there for TCU. I think Morris was going to dribble the ball off her foot, but maybe they say that the contact, the displacement is what forced. Yeah. I'm not an official. I don't want to be an official, so I am not in a position to critique them.
And TCU able to cash it in with Yummy Morris to get the basket. The lead now shrinked to 21. Ryan at the point. TCU starting to get a little bit warmer. 3 of their last 3 from the field. Ryan to the high post to Jordow. And the rebound to Morris. Hurt off the Diggs, and they'll play it around the perimeter. And the rebound to Jones, and she'll be fouled. That's just the 4th team foul called against TCU here in the third quarter. And something that's been slowed down a little bit in the first half. They were having a number of players get into foul trouble. And Hurd, a little frustrated there, will pick up her second.
Ashley Jones tracks down her 8th rebound of the game, go along with 17 points. Hasn't scored in the second half, in fact. Cyclones haven't really needed her to. Heck of a block.
Yeah, Morris with the block and the takeaway. Here's Diggs, left it short. Jones with another rebound. In fact, Ashley garnering more rebounds now with 9, getting near another double-double. Hurd to Diggs. And count it, a blocking foul called on Iowa State.
Bodies are flying. Emily Ryan, Beatrice Jordao both falling to the floor there. Good concentration by Diggs. Go up strong and finish.
Tabby Diggs with 17 in the game here to lead TCU. And the Horned Frogs go back to their bench as Makwa will check back in. Aubrey Jones also back into the contest here for Iowa State. She'll get the rebound there. Jones to work. Caught up underneath the basket and becomes really nifty with that right hand.
Well, she does a great job, almost like she fakes to pass there. And TC.
And a charge is going to be called on Diggs.
Ashley Jones makes that little bit of a pass fake, and a TCU defender kind of backs away a little bit, and she's able to flip it up and in. Very crafty move. When she comes down to the other end of the floor, gets in great defensive position and draws the foul. Great sequence there on 2 ends of the floor.
Kane letting traffic clear. And a double team on Ryan, and a foul is going to be called, and this goes against Caroline German.
Emily Ryan on occasion will post up a smaller defender. There were 2 purple jerseys around her there, giving Morgan Kane plenty of daylight if she wanted to shoot a 17, 18 footer. She did not. Emily Ryan with that great position in low and draws the foul.
Ryan now with 13, make it 14 for the game. As the Cyclones expand their lead back up to 23 again. TCU going to Makwa. Kane with the tight defense, and it'll create a turnover here as Ashley Jones comes up with it. To the rack.
When Ashley Jones emerged from the pack there, she was actually trailing 2 purple jerseys, but even with the ball in her hand, she puts on the burners and beats them both to the basket.
See the third quarter clock winding down here. And too many steps there by Makwa. That'll be turned over. So TCU 31% from the field for the game. Iowa State shooting about 43%, but Ashley Jones has really put her thumbprint on this one here so far.
Cyclones looking for a 2-for-1 opportunity there, which is why Lexi Donarski comes down and fires away at that shot.
Now buried the kick out. The 3 off the mark. Makwa able to find Michelle Berry, who will put it off the glass for 2. The quarter clock winding down, shot clock is up. Berry with 5 in the game. Iowa State runs this. Donarski can't get it to fall, and that will be the end of the third quarter. Iowa State leads it by 23. as the defense has really clamped down today on TCU. Big time performances again out of Ashley Jones. 21 points, 9 rebounds so far. Emily Ryan with 14. 11 scored by Morgan Kane and 9 by Lexi Donarski. And for TCU, Tabby Diggs is having herself a game. She's got 15.
TCU having their best quarter in the third, 56% from the field. Did turn the basketball over a little bit, but much better flow on the offensive end.
This is last touch by Iowa State, so TCU will get it back.
TCU outscoring Iowa State in the paint by 10, but have not been able to get much help from beyond the arc. 2 of 12.
When you think about, too, their top scorer, Lauren Hurd, held to just 4 points today. As defensively for Iowa State, Lexi Donarski has had her number.
Well, most nights, Lexi Donarski draws the most challenging defensive assignment out on the perimeter. Her athleticism, her length, I think is really a challenge because she's a guard and she's defending usually the opposing team's best guard, but then she has that length of a forward. Yeah. Makes it quite a challenge.
30-second shot clock violation there by TCU. Draws applause not only from the crowd, but from the Iowa State bench. Bill Fenley appreciating that defensive effort, and it pays off here on the offensive end as Morgan Kane got a dime from Emily Ryan.
Emily Ryan having a solid game. Not the gaudy assist numbers that we have seen in the last couple of contests, but nonetheless solid floor game from your point guard.
Barry shot off the mark. Aubrey Jones with a rebound. Here's Ryan on the drive. Germond in traffic. Makwa. And the rebound to Ashley Jones. Lead at 25 here for the Cyclones. Donarski. Now to Jones for 3. Well, you think about for Iowa State what they've got ahead on the schedule too. Match up with K-State coming up on Tuesday night, in which both teams could be unbeaten going into that one.
Well, Bill Fenley often breaks his season down into mini seasons, and they're looking at this first 4-game stretch of Big 12 play. 4 games in 10 days, as we've said. They're kind of viewing it as a mini season, if you will.
Emily Ryan able to knock down the J.
So it seems pretty likely that they will get out of here with a win and go to 3-0 in Big 12 play for the first time since 2014. But like you said, those back-to-back road games await.
Barry for 3, left it short. Kane will spot up. Gets the 17-footer.
If Morgan Kane and Beatrice Jordow can knock down that 15 to 17-footer with some consistency, that is going to change a lot about this Iowa State lineup. In seasons past, Kristen Scott was a lethal 3-point shooter, and that's why she and Ashley Jones played off each other so well. Those two players can do that. I know that's something that they're working on, trying to give them some confidence from that distance.
Here's Kane left alone. We got her defender on the hip, and Morgan Kane having herself a game with 17 points. And it will lead us to a timeout. 68-37. Cyclones rolling. They're on the road at Oklahoma. The rest of the month looks like this. Texas Tech at home, and then also at home to entertain Texas. So some games coming up, and that's what people wanted, was just games at home, just games, period. They've had a tough time this year, just 9 played so far, and it's been a long time since they've had some consistent games on the road. They're going to get them, though, here coming up.
Well, I think this TCU team will continue to show improvement throughout the Big 12 season just because they really haven't played together that much. Sure, they've played 9 games, but they were 8 games into the season, and things halted for a while, and she said, that SMU game, can't really take a lot of stock in that one in the first week of January because we just needed to put our uniforms on again. They had some players who couldn't go home for the holiday break due to quarantine and isolation, and it's just been a real tough go. So I think as long as they can hang in there, keep their chins up, I think they will continue to improve throughout the long Big 12 season. It goes by quickly, but a lot of opportunity ahead.
Emily Ryan will check out of the game. Got a great hand, and coming in is going to be Maddie Frederick, the junior guard out of Tip City, Ohio, here for Iowa State. Benarski at the point. And right on point with a bucket. Another one. She's in double figures with 11.
And we've potentially seen the last of a few starters for Iowa State, including Morgan Kane. Want to highlight her second half. 14 points in the second half, 6 of 6 from the field.
Here's Diggs. Shot blocked by Dew. Now Germond able to connect on the 3.
3 of 19 from beyond the arc for TCU today.
TCU with Paige Bradley back into the contest, along with Patricia Morris. 7 on the shot clock. Winding down, and foul going to be called here, and this will bring us to a timeout on the floor. 4:33 to play here in the game. Iowa State in command. They lead it by 30. At home on the 19th, you can see that game right here against another top 25 team in Texas. Then they travel to Baylor and then wrap it up at home against Kansas. So Iowa State with yet another quick bucket, as that was knocked down by Izzy Zingaro, who just checked into the game.
Well, with Iowa State not starting the academic semester until Tuesday the 18th, it's probably an okay thing to get 2 road games in a row out of the way this coming week. Schedule worked out nicely as far as that goes.
And that foul going against TCU. And Tabby Diggs just picked up the foul. That's her 5th. She'll finish with 17 points. What an effort by Tabby Diggs. Espen Miller-McGraw at the line, able to connect on the free throw here.
16 minutes for Maggie today as she continues to work her way back into the lineup. As we've mentioned, on those restricted minutes. Missed a bunch of games, but when she came back, very restricted minutes. She has to be extremely careful on the days that she doesn't have games. Can't practice a whole lot. Has to stay off her feet as much as possible.
Well, Iowa State, as Vic's able to clear the rebound here for the Cyclones, they're a very, very deep team. Think about it. We've seen a number of players get into action today. And they've also got one on the bench in Danae Fritz, a freshman who's been out with an injury, who did play quite a bit early on in the season here.
Started the first 3 games of the year for Iowa State and had to shut her down. I'm not sure what the plan is for Danae in the short term.
Germond hit a 3 already and hits another one right here. Now Espen Miller-McGraw to Ngaro has it knocked away by Morris. It's going to stay with Iowa State. 2:51 to play. Cyclones trying to go to 14-1 overall and 3-0 in league play. Now here's Neymar Dew. Can't get the three to go. Bradley with the board. Holmes will launch and hit.
First points of the day for Aja Holmes.
Confident on the shot. Dew off into the corner, her three. Can't get the answer. And TCU will get it back.
Dew unable to knock down those triples this afternoon, but on the season hasn't shot a lot of threes, but did come into the game shooting 45% from that distance.
So Maggie Espen Miller-McGraw will check out, and coming in is going to be Mary Kate King, the freshman from Dubuque. Played her high school ball at Wahlert. Into the game will pick up Bradley here. Morris will draw contact and will go to the line.
Morris does start for this TCU team, but really has been in and out of the game with quite a bit of foul trouble from early on. Has only played 7 minutes. Started her career at Oregon State.
Well traveled. And Garo will get the rebound here, and it'll get turned over. German. TCU fires the three. They can't get it. Holmes with the rebound, and will be stuffed by Ngaro. And a foul going to be called on TCU as German will pick up the foul. Take a look at the defense here.
Great block by Izzy.
Frederick trying to enter the ball. Fouled on the play. That's going to be the 4th team foul here on TCU. So one more will put Iowa State into the bonus.
I love watching Iowa State starters help the reserves out now from the bench. I will not be surprised at all if Emily Ryan ends up in some sort of coaching profession, whether it's actually coaching a sport or if it's coaching people in some other leadership environment. But she is constantly coaching her teammates up, even if she's in the game, she's got the ball in her hands, or if she's sitting on the bench helping out her teammates.
And the rebound to Frederick. And she'll launch and hit. Inside of a minute to play, Iowa State moving to 14 wins on the season. The only setback was a loss on the road to LSU. And a 3-0 in Big 12 conference play as this one is off the glass, and again, it's going to be called on the floor. I believe it's going to go against Ngaro.
Well, she had the good defensive rebounding position, but maybe just boxed out a little too far there as they tried to track down that long rebound.
TCU with perhaps their last possession of the game. And Neymar Dew will come up with it. There is a second difference between the shot and the game clock here. Is he able to get the bucket here for Iowa State to give them 78 on the day?
Great job by Izzy running the floor there, and she benefits from that hustle play. Dew with a nice dish.
Zingaro with 4 off the bench today. Game clock winding down. Iowa State going to be going to 14-1 on the year. 3-0 in Big 12 conference play and setting up a big matchup coming up on Tuesday night on the road against K-State. As the fans here at Hilton Coliseum celebrate, as they should. A big win for Iowa State as they knock down TCU by 31, 78-47.
Like you said, Iowa State, that tough road matchup against Kansas State. They are playing today in West Virginia, so quick turnaround for the Wildcats to be on the road, fly back, and get ready for this Iowa State team. Two teams playing with a lot of confidence.
Well, TCU will host Kansas on Monday, and Iowa State will head to Manhattan, Kansas, Tuesday to take on K-State. Both games are set for 6:30 Central and can be seen right here on Big 12 Now. From Ollie Parrott, I'm BJ Shaban saying so long here from Hilton Coliseum, where the final score is Iowa State 78, TCU 47. All games airing on ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.